Hi, and today we are here for another video on AI, and today is more focused on student. So we will see some things that we have already seen in previous videos, and maybe some bits that might be new to you. But in general, what I want to do is to show you how you can make your student use AI. Of course, I understand the concern of giving the student the freedom of using AI because you have no control over what the AI will tell them and if it's correct or not. But we need to accept the fact that now AI is a reality. So the student, either we tell them to do it or not, they will use it. So we need to have to try to take some power on the use of it and teach them how to. So we are a little bit more in control. And of course, when we introduce AI to our student, we always need to make sure that for the student is clear that AI not necessarily is going to get it right. So correction that might give, they might not be really precise, but the AI might tend to not understand the mistake and thinking that is correct when actually in that context, in that specific topic or discussion, there might be a mistake that AI doesn't spot. So every time that the student use it, it's okay to use it as a practice, but there is always have to be a double check with the teacher, either in writing or if there is some doubt that something is right or not, it's better always to check with the teacher. So that's the key of letting the student use an AI. Always tell them, okay, you can, but please be mindful, not necessarily if the AI tells you that it's right or wrong, is necessarily right or wrong. Always double check with me. Now, to set up some practice session with the chatbots, we have different AI chatbot at the moment. So you have ChatGPT, you have Copilot, you have Gemini, you have Perplexity, you have DeepSeek. Now, DeepSeek is still controversial at the moment, so I wouldn't advise yet to use it. Perplexity, it's a new AI, and to be honest, I found it a little bit more accurate when we use it with the voice input. But the interaction that you can use with the free version, it's limited to 5 or 6, so it doesn't really give you a lot. ChatGPT gives you a little bit more. Copilot might not give it you at all, and Gemini gives you just a few as well. So because this changes all the time, my suggestion is just check on the moment when you give the student some task, what is the allowance. So we can tell them to the students to create role play scenarios, free conversation practice, vocabulary grammar drills, pronunciation practice, and a few things more. Now, and of course, for the pronunciation practice, the voice input, it's a must, because otherwise it makes no sense. For the rest, there is a trick that I'll explain to you later. So, role play scenario. This is a plain role play. The student can ask to the chatbot to act as a waiter, travel agent, job interviewer, or any character that they choose, and in practice, ordering food, booking hotel, having business meeting. So I put, for example, a little instruction for ChatGPT, for example, and I'm saying I'm learning Italian, I'm a level A2, and I want to chat as if you were a waiter in a very posh Italian restaurant. Could you please correct me when I make a grammar mistake or if the sentence structure is unclear? Also, please explain your correction. Please start by giving me the restaurant menu, So this is set up the role play, and then the student can start. If they run out of voice interaction, they could use the keyboard on their phone and use the voice input to text. So instead of speaking directly to the AI, that then will make it into a text and then will carry on, they actually use the text, the speech to text option that they have on the phone. I put here two links, one for Apple and one for Android, but they might change if they update the system. So now here you have these two links, but always be mindful that maybe the settings that you have, they might be different. But um, generically speaking, every phone has this capability now. So the student will dictate the text to the phone and then send the text to ChatGPT. The limit is that when you use the direct voice input in an AI, then the AI answer by writing, but also by voice. While if you use the speech to text on your keyboard, uh, ChatGPT or any AI will not know that you want to use the voice, so it will just answer by writing. But this is a good way to go around the fact that you have a limited voice interaction. So this one is for role play. Then we have free conversation practice. So the student can ask the chatbot to correct the grammar, such as better phrasing, or provide the explanation of why something is wrong, but set a theme like travel, work, daily life, or let it flow naturally, and then start chatting in a target language. So I'm learning Italian, I'm a level A2, and I want to chat with you about travel. Could you please correct me when I make a grammar mistake or if the sentence structure is unclear? Also, please explain your correction and please start with a question and I'll follow. I have a few examples of this that we will see of all the things that we're going to see now that I'm talking to you about. Um, and I'll show you later on ChatGPT what is the answer that ChatGPT gives. Now, pronunciation practice, the student can read the passage aloud and ask to be corrected on pronunciation. So this one, it's where the voice input is necessary. There's no workaround. In the second part, ask for phonetic transcriptions and tongue twister for practice. This one doesn't really need the voice input. You just ask, okay, can you please tell me the phonetic transcription of these words? And then they try to practice a little bit, and then maybe ask for some tongue twister or some sentences to practice these words. And when they practice, then they will need the voice input. Vocabulary and grammar drills. Now, student can ask the chat box to quiz them on new words or grammar concept. Explain a grammar point to the chatbot and ask it to tell them if they are correct. So they just study something and they say, okay, I'm not sure I understood. Let me explain it to ChatGPT and see what they say. Of course, as I said before, the AI not necessarily is completely right, but it's a practice for the student to think about it and to reformulate the grammar rule in their word. Then have the ChatGPT tell them if they're right or not, and then they can just send it back to you as a teacher to say, okay, ChatGPT, I did this explanation. ChatGPT told me that it's right or it's wrong. Can you please just double check 1 second if everything gone right? And then you can just briefly have a look. Usually it takes 1 minute because you can spot straight away if ChatGPT is going completely out of the rails or is actually correct. And then they can ask to create practical exercise such as fill in the blank or sentence restructuring to test the knowledge of whatever has been discussed before. Even for this one, I will show you later on ChatGPT, but one input could be, here is a list of new words I have learned. Either they copy and paste or they attach a file. Can you please create some quiz and some practical exercise to test my knowledge? So in this way, if they know that they learn a certain type of words, then they practice and try to learn this word, not just with a flashcard as usually we do. No, we use flashcards to study words. In this way, they have quite a few different inputs. Now, design conversation scenarios for different proficiency levels, because of course we can ask ChatGPT to be a little bit more precise on the level of the conversation that we want to have. So we could have a guided conversation, we could have expanding conversation skills, or more working on fluency and complex topics. So let's have a look. Let's start with the beginners. So the scenarios could be introducing yourself, ordering food at cafe, asking for directions, shopping, booking an hotel room. Um, so the extras, we could ask ChatGPT to give simple and clear responses, or add some visual prompts, or have a guided role play. Well, I'll show you later on what I mean by that. So in this case, for example, I'm asking, please build an English conversation scenario on shopping in a closed store so that the student can build and practice basic vocabulary, sentence structure, and improve their confidence. Leave some blanks for verbs and vocabulary to make it a bit more challenging. So in this way, I will build a guide role play. I'll show you later on what is the answer from ChatGPT on this matter. And you'll see it's a very nice role play that can be used either by the student in a home, as we're doing now, or you could also use it to create your own guided role play and then use it in class when you have more students. Intermediate, the scenarios, they're getting more complex, so making small talk, job interview practice, describing possibilities, express opinions. And then the extra, you can ask ChatGPT to encourage the use of full sentences, introduce idioms and casual expressions, feedback on grammar and pronunciation. So, for example, please build a conversation scenario so that the student can express opinions, describe experience, handle real life situation. In this case, now I kept it general, but then you can ask specific conversation scenarios. So it's okay. I want a conversation scenario that it's an interview practice, a job interview practice. Then if we go in more advanced, then we go to debating the topic, discussing current events, handling difficult situations, telling a story, or giving a presentation, or negotiate. In this case, you can ask to focus on tone, style, and cultural nuances, using advanced vocabulary and expressions, practice different communication styles. So you might want something that is more formal, more informal. Because at the beginning, especially in A1, A2, even if we teach formal and informal, for at least for quite a few languages, it's not that necessary to be formal straight away when we're just learning. It's something that comes out later on. For other culture and other languages, maybe it's very important straight away. But in this case, I put it in a more advanced one. But of course, you feel free to ask for formal and informal in lower levels. And here, please build a conversation scenario so that the student can engage in debates, negotiation, and nuanced discussions, and see what the AI gives you. Or you can be a little bit more detailed in your instruction. Don't worry about writing long instructions. More things you tell the AI and more specific you are, better results you get. So don't worry to be a little bit complex in your instruction. Now, I want to show you, before going to actual ChatGPT, I made a sort of an example of homework assignment in steps. So we start with a conversation task, we go to reflection and correction, Then we move to a writing task as a follow-up, and then a self-evaluation. So how it goes? We have a conversation task. So I tell the student to open a chat with an AI, choose one scenario from the list and have a conversation in Italian, a list that I gave them. So, for example, I gave those scenarios. You can choose between ordering food at a restaurant, asking for direction in a city, making small talk with a coworker, booking a hotel room over the phone. So these could be four of the scenario, and then they can choose one of it. And then try to write or say, depends if they're using voice interaction or if they just write it, at least 10 sentences and respond naturally. So the instruction, we might give them some example of instruction to the student, so the student knows what to ask the ChatGPT. So I'm a student of Italian language and I'm a level A1. I need to do some conversation practice. The topic is, please act. The topic is blah, blah, blah. Please act as. So, of course, if he's ordering food, please act as a waiter. The conversation should be around 20 interaction. So the ChatGPT knows that roughly you're going to talk for that amount of time. Once they do that, they will have, because the AI always, even if you use the voice interaction, they will always write down what is happening. So at that point, the student can copy and paste the conversation in the homework document, so in a Word file or whatever they want. Highlight any words or phrases you did not know before. So in all, and this one applies on everything that we said before. Sometimes, of course, I tell AI what is my level, but that doesn't mean that all the words that AI is going to use or the construction that AI is going to use, I know all of them, because it's pretty big range, even if I say A1. So if they see something, they just underline it, ignore if they have no idea, just try to figure it out, what that means and what it goes. Of course, for simple vocabulary, they can just check. But structure they might not be familiar with, it's fine. They need to use the one that they are familiar with and just intake the one that comes from AI they are not familiar with. Here is another thing that you need to explain to students, and is actually an advantage in the AI, the fact that the structure that it uses, they might be a little bit more complex. And why is an advantage? Because although you want the student to stay within the level and the vocabulary and structure that they learn, when they go in real life, whoever they talk to, they're not going to respect that. So they will always be challenged by the person that they're talking to, because that person will use way more complex things that they can expect. So with ChatGPT, they can start figuring out things, even if they're more complex, and when they answer, still trying to use only the things that they know. So they can highlight phrases, words, or whatever they don't know, and then ask for explanation to AI, or they could also come to you and then discuss with you about the things that they don't understand. And in that case, it might be something that can be explained in that moment, or it could be something more advanced, and then you tell the student, well, don't worry about it. As long as you understood the gesture of it, don't worry about this construction because we haven't learned it yet. So a writing task could be interesting, could be for the student to summarize this conversation in 5-6 sentences. So they need to write down what happened, like tell a story. And while they're telling the story, they need to use maybe some words or phrases that they learn in this interaction. So put it into action straight away, something new. Even here, please tell them to use something new, but if it's completely uh, mm, out of the range, meaning if they see that it's very complicated thing that they can't really figure it out, don't use it. Use the things that you feel confident that are new, but you feel confident that you understood. Mm? And then a self-evaluation part. And here, how confident did you feel during the conversation? What was easy? What was difficult? What would you like to improve next time? So they can write down all the things and discuss with the teacher. So together you will be able to see where to work on, uh, and then this will help students slowly to build their confidence. Now, as I said, I have a few examples of this instruction that I gave to ChatGPT. So let's see this one where I ask for I gave a list of new words, and I ask for a quiz and some practical exercise to test my knowledge. I gave it a list, and then this is what ChatGPT did: multiple choice question, fill in the blank, practical exercise, write one original sentence for each verb in the list. Try to use passato prossimo imperfetto to correct the sentence and explain any errors. A little role play exercise. So the student can do all of those to try to practice these new words. Of course, they don't need to be complex exercise, but just the fact that they're trying to use it and reading and doing it, it will help their memory. Another example: I'm learning Italian, I'm level A2, want to chat with you about travel. So they start with the question: dove sei andato in vacanza l'ultima volta? Puoi descrivere il viaggio usando il passato prossimo imperfetto. So, where have you been on holiday last time? Please describe your trip using these two different tenses. So you see here, ChatGPT went even further than what I asked. And because he knows that if I'm at level A2, I'm supposed to know these two tenses. Of course, if there is something else that the student wants to practice, it's kind of, okay, yes, but please, can we use future tense rather than past tense? Because I want to talk of travel in the future. And ChatGPT will adapt. Here we have the input for the role play. Could you please correct me? What is it? I want to chat as you were a waiter in a very posh Italian restaurant. Please start by giving me the restaurant menu. So, welcome to the restaurant Il Sapore Elegante, and here our menu. So you got a full menu. Please, sir, madam, would you like some suggestion of the menu? No? Would you like to know? And then here the student starts talking. They start asking questions on the menu. What is this? What is that? Do you have this? Do you have that? Can I have this? Can I have that? Bring me first this one. Bring me out later that one. So the conversation can flow for quite a while. And last thing is, please build an English conversation scenario on a shopping in a clothes store, so that the student can build and practice basic vocabulary and sentence structure and improve their confidence. Leave some blanks for verbs and vocabulary to make it a bit more challenging. So as you can see, here I have sales assistant and customer, and I have the blank to be filled up with either verb or words that I know. So can I help greet you today? I'm looking for a type of clothing for a specific occasion. Great. What color, size, style are you looking for? I'd like something, and an adjective like comfortable, stylish in specific color, and blah blah. So this one can be used by the student to practice and then fill up the blanks, or it can be used from the teacher by the teacher in class. So one is going to be the sales assistant, one is going to be the customer, and they just have to do the role play, but in a guided way. So they don't have to think about the whole sentence structure, but just thinking about some verbs, some adjectives, some nouns, and don't be too stressed about, oh my God, I have no idea what to say. Because what sometimes is challenging with students is the lack of creativity. So a student can, if we give them a complete free role play, they can get stuck because they don't really have the imagination to come up with the fact that they might need to ask for a type of clothing or a specific occasion, or using adjective like I want something comfortable, I want something stylish. They might not think about this stuff. So that's why a guided role play is very useful. And after the student did some role play in this way at home, maybe when they come in class, you can give them some freestyle role play. And at that point, because they already used it in class, at home, they they don't really have to create and use imagination, but they simply use what they already been practiced at home. So they start to be more confident. Okay, I can ask this, I can ask that, I can go here, I can go there, and again, it will improve their confidence. So I hope that this video was useful. I will give you the link for the slides. And maybe give us a feedback on how your student react to this type of instructions. So try out with one or two of your students. Don't try straight away with many of them. Just choose one or two students that you think that will be more keen, and see what comes out of it, and see what are the feedback from the students. Um, Giving a homework, for example, like the one that I structured for you, or by using a role play like this. Okay, so thank you very much, and see you next time.